지금 비포 찍고 있어요.
아 비포 찍고 못생긴 척 해야 되는 거예요?
Stop. Jason Derulo. Hi, it's me again. Okay, so this video I literally filmed like months ago because it was a favor from my buddy Sungji over at Bounce Cafe, the owner. So he does lots of sorts of things related to basketball, and he happened to know one of these basketball players, Miss Lee Juyeon.
안녕하세요. 저는 삼성생명 블루밍스 이주연입니다.
Yo! He asked me to do her makeup for a video, so I was like, why not? I do love the idea of a girl that, I mean, she's naturally pretty, and she does a little bit of makeup. I wanted to give her like a girl. I was just trying to turn her into a Xiaohongshu girly, a Doyen girly. Now, she did tell me she is a light spring. She actually got her personal color done somewhere else. This was just me confirming it, and yes, she's a light spring. She did show me some of her products. She, of course, uses the Miss Chung Seung-moor. She doesn't know much about makeup, but I'm just glad that she has the right products. The Skin Neuter cushion is really good because it's a very, almost sort of like this sort of finish. Not as glowy as this, but it's sort of like a natural finish, so good for a spring. Springs look really good in like anything that gives them a glow, right? And also this is some of her lip products and her blush, which are all pretty good for her. I think the only thing was just this eyeshadow palette was too dark for her. It's a very autumn palette, which, I know, she's warm tone, but if a spring is wearing autumn colors, it kind of makes them look old. That's why we're gonna go for more lighter tones to match her sort of spring vibe. Just using toner, wiping down the face. Oh, she got, oh, okay, all right. Actually, the toner and the Ampoule that I'm using here is from Daiso, and I did want to try them out because I wanted to make a video about the skincare that's available at Daiso, and I actually really like it. It's not going to do so much for you if you have like a lot going on. Like if you have pretty decent skin that isn't too oily, isn't too dry, your pores aren't too large. If you just have a little bit of an issue, then they're pretty good. Very basic skincare, so I guess good for maybe students. But if you have more extreme issues, I wouldn't say they're like the most effective because they're very natural vegan sort of skincare products. She does have a little bit of redness in her skin, so I'm using a tone-up cream that has like a sort of minty green undertone to kind of help with the redness. And it's from it's YSL, giving her the full treatment. And it looks like I'm putting quite a bit on, but I'm really just putting an even layer all over because it is sort of the sunscreen step. And I tend to use a lot on people with light to fair skin that have a bit of redness. And I feel like it's enough to kind of even out the redness a little bit. If you have like rosacea, you're probably gonna need more than this though. And then I believe I'm using the ETUDE Double Lasting Vegan Cover Foundation just with a spatula because she's got good skin, like that good skin. So, which is actually very typical for a lot of springs. They tend to have actually really good skin. So I'm using a spatula just because I want a pretty even, light coverage. She has a type of skin that it can look very heavy very quickly. So using the spatula just to get a really thin layer. And does it look lighter than her skin tone? Yes, it does. Yes, it does, but it's because her neck is lighter than her face. So I'm kind of evening everything out. So by the time the whole makeup is done, then it's all gonna look like one tone. And also, to be honest, it's Xiaohongshu Doyen makeup, so a lighter base, I mean, it's part of the look. To be fair, the foundation by itself was totally fine, but I really want the center of the face to look perfect, so I am also using a bit of concealer to help the blush stand out much more later on. And then some powder. To be honest, I didn't really give her a glowy base, which is, oh girl, I'm so like held by the chains of personal color. If I was truly going for the spring look, then I would have left the skin powder only in the middle, but I kind of put powder everywhere because again, Doyen makeup, which is a very matte look. And then I am contouring her nose. She does have a quite more on the longer side, so I'm really doing the sort of Doyen-y style of contouring the nose, right? I do the end here, and then I do the, not straight up into the brow, but like into the eye socket, because this will help kind of shorten the nose and kind of make the nose look more like this, rather than, because if I just put like two brown stripes here, it would really elongate the nose and really make the middle of her face look really long, and that's not what we're looking for. I think she did say that's like one of her complexes where she has like a longer face. So if you have a longer face, doing this sort of way of contouring will help a lot. And then, oh, this is where I give it a little bit of glow with highlighter, but I think I only put it on her nose, I think. I haven't watched this footage in a while, so we're gonna be watching this together. It's gonna be like me experiencing it for the first time as well. I'm putting a little bit of contour on her jawline as well. I don't really care to contour the face a lot of the time, but I know the girls up in Korea love you know, in Asia, I love doing this here. So I'm doing it just for shits and giggles, just for the illusion of professionalism. Oh, and also her lips, of course. I do contour a little bit of the Cupid's bow here just to give some sort of like shape there. If all I'm doing contouring is just her nose and her jawline, it can make her whole face look empty. So I do love contouring around the lips to give some kind of like contrast there. You see how much more plump her lips look? Of course, I'm going to put the lip color on afterwards, but sort of preliminary thing. And then I'm using this KALEIDOS tone, I think it's like a tone activator eye primer. It has a little bit of a peachy tone to it, so it's great for removing any sort of like, if you have like darkness around your eyes. It primes your eyes, but also gets rid of like the dark brownness around the eyes that a lot of people will have. And then I'm using this Lilybyred. I love using this palette for springs because it's a really nice peachy, orangey sort of a color story. A color story. So I'm just putting literally that shade all over her eyelids. She has monolids, but she does have a lot of space here. So I'm actually taking it quite a bit high. The first color, the first base eyeshadow is gonna kind of set the tone for like where your eye is, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm kind of putting it widely. It doesn't have to be this dark of a color. You can just use a lighter color for your base color, but the first color is kind of the color you want to use to be like, this is kind of up to where my eyes go, right? So I'm placing the color here quite high. And then I'm using, I don't remember if it's the same product, but I'm using some kind of eye primer, almost like a concealer, to kind of carve out her cut crease. I'm doing sort of like doyenne sort of style cut crease. Now, you don't have to do this really. If you have a really good pale ivory or like white eyeshadow that's very pigmented, you can totally just use that and cut the crease with it. You don't have to use this whole concealer or eye primer sort of thing, but I'm doing it just because I was, you know, feeling myself, and I guess I wanted to stand out much more. It really will help the pale eyeshadow that I use on top to pop. But for everyday, daily, you don't have to do this. But you see the difference. It really kind of creates the shape of like, oh, this is where the eye is. Because that part of her eye area is kind of flat, so I'm trying to create shape there. And then I'm doing her eyeliner. Now, if you have monolids like her, it's best to do your eyeliner with your eyes open, because if you watch a lot of not traditional, but older monolid makeup tutorials, they'll be like, oh, you have to draw your eyeliner like this thick so for it to show up. But to be honest, if you want to keep it more simple, just keep your eyes open and really just draw the end of your eyeliner. Most of the time, your eyes are gonna be open when you're looking at people, right? So you want to just draw the wing where you want it to be while your eyes are open. And that's kind of what I did. You see how it really elongates her eyes. And I think I did, yeah, more of like a vertical, like a horizontal. I didn't try to do a cat wing or anything. It's because her eye here kind of goes upwards that gives the feeling of more like upturned eyes. But for the eyeliner itself, it's just horizontal that I drew it on. Oh, and here I'm using a pen eyeliner. I think just to reinforce and kind of make the roots a little bit darker, but that's about it. But do you see how much bigger her eyes look already? And then I think here I'm using the same base eyeshadow I use up here, just on her aegyo on her aegyo part. And then I'm using a pencil to, no, actually no. This is why I don't really like concealer pencils. Concealer pencils are super popular in Korea to use for your aegyo, but I found a lot of them to be very dry, and the more you're trying to like rub and get the color off, it just hurts the under eye here because it's so thin, the skin here. So in the end, I just ended up taking the same concealer I used to cut the crease. I just use it on a little concealer brush and then put that on. It's a much easier and more gentle on the eye. You see how effective it is. I kind of change up the way I do aegyo every now and then, but for her in particular, because I use the base eyeshadow first, right? I put it on quite wide, and then I put the actual aegyo highlight on top of that, so you get the contrast. I know some people will do the aegyo brightening first, and then they'll do the shadow afterwards, but it doesn't really matter. It depends on your eye shape. And then I use this HOLIKA. It's a very faint eyeliner that's meant to be used, actually, I believe, to extend your double eyelid line to make it look longer, but it became popular to, oh my god, the hair on my face. It became popular to use for your aegyo. It's great for pictures, but it can look a little artificial in person. But this is doyenne makeup, right? So this is meant for pictures. Gotta curl the lashes. For a monolid, eyelashes is super important. And I'm using a half eyelash curler to really get into the corners. You see, it really opens up her eyes because her eyelashes actually point downwards quite a bit. It really kind of makes her eyes look a little bit smaller because it's just covering all the whites of the eyes. This is us. I think I was asking her about K-pop and she was like, oh, I like Eyelid. I was like, Period. Then some mascara. Oh, I think I used the ETUDE curl fixing one. I'm gonna put falsies on her anyway, so I think this is just to keep the curl. This type of product, which again, like I've said in my previous video, more so than mascara, it's just a fixer to help fix the curls of the lashes. It's more like a primer, I guess you could say. Girl, you knew. She was like, oh shit, I've never seen lashes like this. So I'm giving her typical Doyen lashes. Oh, before the lashes though, I did give her the beautiful, like the glitter in the cut crease because I love that look. So I used this flower nose one just to create some, ooh, right there. That shimmer, it's so pretty. Springs, they need glitter, they need shimmer. It really looks so good on them. And also, of course, some on the Eyeshadow itself, because we want as much shimmer and shine as possible. Especially because I didn't put any on the skin, because I made the skin so matte. I think that's why I made the skin matte. I knew I was gonna use all the glitter on the eyes, so I made the skin all matte so that this pops out more. If it's all glowy skin and also a lot of shimmer and glitter, it might look a little messy. Ooh, these lashes, yes! Now, girl, I spent way more time than I should have on the eyelashes, so I'm cutting a lot of it out, but it was all worth it in the end. And of course, I am adding some lower eyelashes as well. I honestly hate these lower lashes that I use. They're the individual lower lashes. I'd rather just use cluster ones next time. These ones are so hard to stick on, so warning to myself in the future. And then, of course, I'm using a blush on a powder puff, actually, because I feel like that gives the most amount of pigment. Also, because the skin is powdered, right? So I'm using the blush with the powder puff, and I feel like it gives this really pretty cloud sort of effect where, like, you don't see any lines or edges to the blush. So you see how, like, the color is just like watercolor on our cheeks? So pretty. And I believe the puffs are just from Flower Nose. I think these are fake ones from AliExpress. I know Real Techniques, they also have little mini powder puff things, so you can use that for your blush too. Actually, let me show you right now instead of just explaining it to you. So these are the ones I used from Flower Nose, but they do have these ones from Real Techniques. They're a lot flatter, but it still has the same effect. And then her lips. Oh, I used a Flower Nose from their Little Angel collection, the newer one. And it's just one of those peachy shades, of course, because she's spring, right? So she needed to match the eyes as well. The eyes are very like pinky brown. So the lips, of course, are more of like a coral vibe. So I think I'm using this first as a base. And then I believe I'm using another Flower Nose lipstick, but from their Swan Ballet collection, because those were lipsticks, but they were very shiny, glowy lipsticks. So I'm using that on top for more color and for that shine. Of course, we need that gloss and glow. And then to even out the shape of her lip, because her lip shape is kind of like this, so I'm adding volume on the outer corners using this AOU lip pencil. I believe the color is Over. And I'm using concealer to fix that up if I feel like I put too much. Oh, add more gloss, I guess. This is just from Peri Para. It's just a clear lip gloss. Oh! You see that shine, honey? I can't do this amount of gloss because I'll look a little bit crazy. Like, it looks too much on my face, but for her, it looks perfect. I did make everything matte on her skin, but I think I did add a little bit of highlight using this OFRA highlighter, which, to be honest, I don't feel like I really need to do it. Occasionally, if she like turns her head, it will show up a little bit, but you know, not completely necessary. But there's the final look from just a awesome, cool basketball player to this glammed up Doyen girly. I don't know.
예쁜 척 계속 하면 돼요?
Okay. Oh.
Alright, I didn't ask you to try to take my job.